a profound line from President Biden, really acknowledging in some way the over-policing that a lot of the Black and brown people in Memphis consistently face, really sometimes on a daily basis.
What it do, family? Today's video, this is going to be a video that basically sends a message out to everyone, including Joe Biden. Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. And I want to make sure that I am very clear when I explain why I'm saying that and why that is the title of this video. Keep that same energy. Today, I would like to talk about Tyre Nichols and the media coverage that this story has been receiving in comparison to other situations that are very similar, if not the very same, with just small differences like the color of the police officer's skin. But I want to address a few things. And first, I'm going to play this video. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to discuss.
I felt guilty putting that video on the screen, not because I was on anyone's side. I felt obviously bad about it. It was horrible. But because you don't want to put ugly things on TV and inflame passions. You want people to be reasonable and think things through and reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations, they really want to make people enraged, clearly.
They don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about young Black men and their inability to treat each other in a humane way. Everybody involved in this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young Black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young Black men do when they're supervised by a single Black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected some or put some Black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time, because there was no male authority in your home, let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what, this is Tucker Carlson's fault. This is some random this is Donald Trump's fault. It's not. It's the breakdown of family and the buying in to all these left-wing things that have nothing to do with promoting family.
First and foremost, Tucker Carlson is just a liar. I felt guilty putting that up there. Tucker Carlson enjoys putting up things like that. Tucker Carlson was one of those people who was speaking out against the protests of George Floyd. He was one of the people standing up for the police officers. Matter of fact, he continues to be a person who stands up for these crooked officers every time there's a situation in clear-cut evidence in straight 4K. He's still one of those people that backs the badge. And see, while he's sitting there saying, I feel bad, guilty, just showing it, he's still showing it. And see, I eliminated the video that was on the side of the interview that he was giving, which was the video of Tyre Nichols. And I removed that because I know that type of trauma can be passed along. I know that when you watch things like that, something in your psychological mind can now put you into a comparison of what if that was me, right? I also know that trauma can be passed along. And so I didn't include the video. But anytime something like this happens, you see where Tucker Carlson stands. He stands on the side with his white supremacist flag held high. He's flying that flag every chance he gets. All of a sudden, he has some empathy when it's black officers committing the crime. He has some empathy when it appears that it's black on black crime. He has some empathy for that, but he don't have empathy for anything else when it comes to police brutality. And it's these Caucasoid police officers or these Mongoloid police officers, Asiatic police officers who don't look like you and me. Foundational black Americans. Period, point and blank. You have situations where this goes on and on and on, and Tucker Carlson is never one of the people to speak up in the manner in which he's speaking right now. He's never spoke up in a manner in which he's speaking right now. Fox News has never spoken so empathetically about anybody who's been murdered by police officers in this country, with them being black and the officers being white. You've never seen it, and if you have, please drop it in the comments. When have you seen it? Leave the date, leave a clip, leave a link. Show me. Show me. Because the fact of the matter is, you're not going to find it. You're not going to see it. And this Jason Whitlock, this butter-eating, pork chop frying, this, man, I want to just go off on this person so bad, but it's not productive enough to go off on him. I need to make sure people understand that everything that man said is everything that we talk about when we talk about being a political shield for people who can't say what they want to say to you personally. Meaning, Tucker Carlson made sure to get his coon, his buddy, Fox's friend, as they so eloquently put it, a friend of Fox, to come in and give them cover for their anti-black racism. Give them cover for their white supremacist talking points. Because you don't see this this dude, you don't see this dude talking about any of the officers from any other case, nor their mothers. You've never heard Jason Whitlock come out of nowhere. When George Floyd was killed, he didn't come out of nowhere talking about this is just an indication of white mothers and white single mothers, and when you have no authority figures in the home, what will happen? You don't hear him talking like that about the mass shooters. Oh, this is just an indication of the white mothers and what will happen in the home with the white mothers. He's not keeping that same energy. What he's doing is giving shelter to these nothing bigots. Giving cover to these nobodies who wants to disrespect the black community, but don't want to do it personally so that they don't get thrown under the bus. So they got to go get them their little coon. They got to go pull that coon out of the box, shine him up real nice, throw him out in front of everybody. This is what they have to do. And the fact of the matter, if you ain't never, ever, ever heard some of the people that's speaking now, speaking the way that they're speaking now, when other situations pertaining to police brutality when it comes to the black community happens to us. Particularly your President Biden. Biden is just like Hannity, just like Tucker, just like all of them. Racist to the core. And every time we have a situation, he's one of the first people to come out and back the badge. He's one of the first to back the badge. But now all of a sudden he's concerned. Well, if you're so concerned, Biden, why don't you keep that same energy when you was concerned about the Asian Americans? Why don't you keep that same energy when you was concerned about the illegal immigrants that are being shipped all over the country? Why don't you keep that same energy as if you was like when you was concerned with the Afghanis and bringing those refugees over here, give them lump sums of money? Why aren't you holding that same energy? But you can call the parents and give them some old sob story. You can call the parents with your fake outrage. And the parents could be satisfied with it. And I'm not that surprised. When I saw Benjamin Crump sitting over their shoulders, I knew there was going to be a little situation. That's why I waited to even do this video. But other situations have come to light. But before we get to those other situations, let me play for you guys what Biden had to say.
And Biden reacted really emotionally after the video was released. He put out a lengthy statement about 30 minutes after it went live. And I want to read you a line of it because it is really quite strong language. The president said, like so many, I was outraged and deeply pained to see the horrific video of the beating that resulted in Tyre Nichols' death. It is yet another painful reminder of the profound fear and trauma, the pain and the exhaustion that Black and brown Americans experience every single day. Now, that last line about the exhaustion, that's a profound line from President Biden, really acknowledging in some way the over-policing that a lot of the Black and brown people in Memphis consistently face, really sometimes on a daily basis.
And what have he done about it? He's the president of the United States of America. What has he done about it? Not nothing. Not nothing. Besides give you a bunch of symbolic bullshit gestures, what has anybody done? Not nothing. Not nothing.
Now, the White House had said to reporters throughout the day that the president or no one in the White House had seen the video ahead of time. Obviously, by 7 p.m. that had changed. But what they were doing were trying to do meaningful things to show that this issue was on the top of President Biden's mind. And now that it also included a call that he made to the family of Tyre Nichols during the day. We got a little bit of ability to see into that because a Washington Post reporter was actually in the room and shared some of it online. But I think what's really really interesting about this video we're going to play in just a second is the fact that oftentimes when President Biden is consoling families, we hear them say that he brought up his own trauma of his first wife and baby daughter dying all those years ago. But here we actually get to see it. Take a listen.
On your comments today were moving. I don't know how you did it with Rodney. I know Tyre's dad is devastating.
Yes, sir.
I know people say that too, but I do know. I lost my son in the war, the consequence of the war in Iraq, being there a year. And I lost my daughter when a tractor trailer broadsided and killed my wife and daughter. And I don't know how you stood there. I didn't have the courage to do what you did.
Just symbolic bull stuff. Symbolic bull stuff. A symbolic gesture don't mean nothing when our people are dying in these streets. Why didn't Biden say, you know what? I'm tired of this. Let's make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'm going to be signing an order, the executive order that states that any officer that participates in this type of brutality not only loses their pension and goes to jail for life, but that pension now goes to the family to help for all the situations that they got to pay for when their child get buried in the ground. No. All he gives is symbolic BS. Well, you know, I lost my son in the war, and I lost my daughter, and I lost. And this is the deflection. I don't care about what you lost, Mr. President. What are you going to do to keep other people from losing their children in these streets? Black people, to be more specific. Because you ain't doing too much whatsoever. Remember when you said silence is complicity, Mr. President? Remember when you was talking to people about Kanye, silence is complicity, you tweeted out, Mr. President? In case you didn't remember. And to be honest, I don't even have a problem with you saying that silence is complicity. My problem comes in when you don't keep that same energy when it comes to the black community. You don't keep the same energy. And this is a situation that we see throughout the news. This is a situation that we see throughout social media. Let me show you what I saw on social media earlier today. This is what I saw earlier today, and it says faces of white supremacy. But what I noticed is it was being posted from a non-black person. And this is a problem for me. And as I told people within that comment section and on that person's profile, told this person, these people aren't faces of white supremacy. They may be accomplices, but we cannot take away the faces of a system. It's going to be who runs that system. So when you get behind the veil and everything else, and you get to the head of the snake, it's not going to be no black dude. Now, what they are shields of white supremacy. They are coons within white supremacy. But the faces of white supremacy, I don't agree with that. Now, I might be wrong. Other people might disagree with me. But no. They're either coons within white supremacy or they're shields of white supremacy. But the faces of white supremacy, I can't agree with that. And the reason why I don't agree with it is because what I'm starting to see more and more, and what we all are starting to see more and more, is that they're trying to make black the face of everything. Black people being the face of anti-Semitism. Black people being the face of anti-Asian hate. Black people being the face of anti-immigrants. Black people being the oppressor in our own oppression. And this is where it becomes real dangerous. So no, I do not agree whatsoever with these people being the faces of white supremacy, but they are associates of white supremacy. They are coons within the white supremacist system. They are accomplices of the white supremacist system. Those are all facts. Now, I want to be clear. Am I saying that these men aren't white supremacists? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. However, I am very weary of taking black people and making them the face of anything. Because the truth of the matter is, we're not. We absolutely are not. Especially when the media has been very silent and quiet on the other two participants in this situation. Yeah, apparently 2 more people was involved in this situation. One has been relieved of their duties, and the other one is going unnamed. 7 officers involved in the Tyre Nichols death relieved of duty. 3 Memphis FD members fired. 2 additional Memphis police officers, including the white officer seen encountering Tyre Nichols during the traffic stop, were relieved of duty, and 3 Memphis Fire Department personnel were fired as the investigation into the January 7th death of Nichols continues, officials announced Monday. Now, this is the part that gets me. Listen to this. Officer Preston Hemphill and an unidentified officer were relieved of their duties a day after the incident, Memphis PD revealed Monday. So they already freaking knew there were other people involved. And the guy Hemphill, Officer Hemphill, Preston Hemphill, Officer Preston Hemphill, he was the man who tased Tyre on video. Keep that same energy. All the empathetic bull stuff that y'all putting all over the mainstream media. Keep that same energy. That same energy. Go ahead and scoop up Preston Hemphill and charge his ass like you charging all them. And see, this is how white supremacy works. They throw out the 5 black men and say, oh, this is the black on black crime, negating to mention the white officer who tased our young brother and the unidentified officer who was either there or either participated in the murder of our young brother. So keep that same energy. Lock their ass up and throw away the damn key. Lock them up. The Memphis Fire Department also announced Monday that it fired 2 EMTs and a lieutenant who responded to the scene for failing to properly assess Nichols as he lay beaten on the ground. Hemphill, who is white, allegedly deployed his taser during the confrontation. In his own body cam video, Hemphill is seen chasing Nichols down the road, but then turns back to the scene of the initial traffic stop. Hemphill was heard on his body camera video saying twice, "I hope they stomp his ass." Lock him up. Lock him up. Throw away the key. Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. And to all the racist bigots and coons who belong to the white supremacist system, Keep showing the world that we're correct. Keep showing the world who you are. Keep showing everyone the hypocrisy, because it's that hypocrisy that is waking up a lot of people and is angering a lot of people. Some of those who may have never been woken up to be angry. But keep it going, because you guys are waking up a lot of folk with your hypocrisy and your shenanigans. But just know, anytime anything like this happens, we on your head, homeboy. We on all y'all heads. I don't want to hear nothing out of any of y'all. You can't talk no mess. Keep that same energy. Don't change that empathetic a feeling that you have in your heart once it happens again and all of a sudden it's a white cop. Keep that same energy. I don't want to be hearing excuses left and right. The same way that y'all making excuses for Ari Emanuel and Dana White. I don't want to hear any of that. Keep that same energy. Because trust and believe, the black community, black Americans in specific, we're going to keep that same energy. The doors of the church is closed.